I've been down this road before. You know I throw up folks. Never been and I never been a joke. Straight up from the Pope. Now 1-2, yeah, we on go. Yeah. What up, Monsta, man? You already know I'm a big old rapper out here. Yeah. What up, man? Back another video, man. Hey, today we got a good one. Today, y'all know how I'm rocking with Big Bruh. We got Mr. Nightmare. Cause these guys be interesting. I don't know where you find these stories at, man, but these are interesting. I like to know about stuff like this. You feel me? But it's called Scary Things Hikers Have Encountered in the Woods. Why y'all like to go in the woods? I don't know. I don't know all that. But we here now. And so we gonna talk about it. And we gonna make a joke about it. Because that's what we do over here. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell them all about it. You know, shout me out. Share my videos. Share my clips. You feel me? All that. And thank you for watching. So, about to go ahead and get straight into the video. Yeah, yo!
Looking for a way to make some extra money. I saw this video of a guy talking about how much money he made on DoorDash.
You can always flip a pack.
Today's video topic focuses on some of the scariest things that hikers have encountered in the woods.
You sound
which
different.
ties in perfectly with the theme of the game sponsoring this video, Dead by Daylight Mobile. A terrifying game where one player takes on the role of a killer hunting down the other 4 players in various places, like the middle of the woods. More about that later.
I heard of that game, if I'm not mistaken.
In 2014, a man named Ethan and his wife Danny were spending a weekend together on Vancouver Island, which they had done many times before.
I heard of that.
The couple has a lot of experience on the island and just camping in general. Vancouver Island provides an optimal camping setting because of its mix of scenic beaches and dense forest.
I mean, it looked
The
beautiful.
couple had many successful camping trips on the island
Before you even
until
hear the
something
story.
truly terrifying happened to them on their final outing on the island. Ethan and Danny were far from any roads or civilization, enjoying the solitude. They set up camp on a beach a good distance from anywhere and kept a fire going. To get to the trail leaving the beach was 1 kilometer along the beach and 2 kilometers to the road through the forest. The couple had met another camper named Leon from New Zealand, who they ran into earlier that day on the beach.
By himself?
Leon was planning on sleeping in his van, which he parked back up on the road. The couple invited him down to the beach for a fire.
Wow.
The 3 shared a bottle of wine, talking amongst themselves around the fire.
Wow.
This is where things started to get a little creepy. The sun was starting to go down by this point, and the trio kept hearing what sounded like female voices from behind them in the bushes, dividing the beach from the forest. It wasn't too dark out yet, though, so it was still possible that they were just other hikers or campers nearby.
Okay, that's why you don't judge. Okay. So basically, at first I was looking at dude as a suspect, but they was all together hearing these voices. So he just wanted to be traveling by himself on some, okay.
Or even a group who anchored offshore and the sound was just bouncing in a weird way. All 3 of them could agree that they were hearing female voices, though. On that note, it was getting late and a little dark, so Leon said goodbye and set out to hike back to his car before it was too dark. Ethan and Danny stayed by their campsite and stoked the fire because Danny was starting to get creeped out by the voices, which continued on into the darkness. It sounded like 2 female voices speaking, but whatever that was being said was unintelligible. It sounded to the couple like the voices were not far beyond the tree line now.
In case y'all don't know what unintelligible meaning they didn't understand.
They stayed up very late tending to the fire, and only when the voices had finally stopped, they decided to put out the fire and go to sleep in the tents.
Okay.
Before doing so, the 2 had scanned the cove with a flashlight several times looking for boats that could have been the source of the talking, but there was nothing in sight. It was around 3 a.m. when they laid down finally, ready to catch some shut-eye. But about 15 minutes after they laid down, Ethan and Danny heard footsteps in the area around their campsite.
Hey, I'm gonna give me a good thumbnail.
They came from the direction of the bushes toward the inland behind them, a direction that was not traversable by people. The couple lay there, hoping it was just a bear or any animal, because the only bears on the island are black bears, which usually are very timid around people.
That's true.
The footsteps went from the fire, then over to the tent, then back into the woods.
In case y'all didn't know that.
5 minutes later, the footsteps came back again to the fire. And now, clear as day,
I know.
there were two female voices talking gibberish very loudly. Their communication was not resembling any languages known to
That's
Ethan
what it
or
was.
Danny, and they seemed to be talking over each other, having what could barely be considered to be a conversation at full volume in the dead of night, very far away from civilization, without using lights to navigate through the dense brush, relatively quietly in a direction that seemed impossible to traverse on foot. The two voices moved from the fire pit area over to the tent.
But why are they
talking
still
at a
there?
loud volume.
Why is you
They
still
stood
here?
over the tent talking for a few seconds, then went completely dead as night silent. They went back into the woods to never be seen or heard again. Ethan and Danny lay there completely frozen and afraid for a long time. They woke up around 11 a.m. the next day because of how late they fell asleep. They packed up first thing and never returned.
That's great.
The couple probably made the best decision to remain quiet in the tent, not drawing attention to themselves from whoever or whatever was outside the tent.
Probably remember. All right, now music. All right.
Following
I know he got me. He got me.
With Wix
All
e-commerce.
right.
Create a
All right, little bro, you got me on that one. You got it. Hello. Yeah, a little drunk. It was a
following
solid
pictures you're
drunk. You
about to
feel me?
see were taken by hikers Kylie Cashwell and John Stone, who both live in Eagle Mountain, Utah, a small town south of Salt Lake City. For the past few years, they had been exploring forests in search of interesting things.
Another reason I like watching these videos, because I know where not to go. You hear me?
One day they found it. One day Kylie was
now
hiking
that
in
look
Cedar
nice.
Fort, just
But
5
that-
miles south of Salt Lake
The
City.
real Utah.
While hiking, she found large amounts of animal bones and piles of junk people had dumped. But things started to
doing
get
this
strange
weird
when
stuff.
she started coming across strange symbols and animal parts scattered throughout the forest.
Unnecessary.
Some of them in weird formations. On September 15th, she decided to bring her friend Josh along with her to show him in person the unusual things she was
Josh,
finding.
yeah, I'll go. Let's see
This
what you're talking
time,
about.
the two
I don't
came
believe
across
ya.
something even more disturbing. On the trail, there was a severed deer head and a pentagram surrounded by deer legs, which were not there the first time Kylie walked the trail.
Niggas doing
When you find
rituals
things
out
like
of
this in Dead by Daylight Mobile, it's best to get out of wherever you are in a hurry. The sun was going down, and after getting their pictures,
Look how
they
you
agreed it was time
incorporated
to
the
head
game
back to the
real
car.
quick.
The more they walked, they realized they didn't recognize the path they were on. So the two started looking around for anything that could refresh their memory of where they were.
Dumb.
But as it got dark out, the two accepted that they were lost. With nothing but their phone flashlights
I know
to
that man was
navigate,
blown.
they started getting the feeling they were being watched. As they picked up their pace, the two started to hear the trees and bushes moving at least 20 feet to their right. More concerning by the fact that there was no wind that night. The two started to panic and hurried onto a trail they found,
You
hoping
went
to
on
take
a
them back to
blick.
Kylie's car. Just when things couldn't seem to get any worse, Kylie and Josh
She saw what happened before, told him about it. Whether he believed her or not, she knew what the business was. She saw it first. You went out there with no weapon. You ain't go out with no stick on you, no rod, no yeah. You ain't go with no knife or bat.
breathed so deep and horrific
Them
that it
people.
sounded neither human nor animal.
Hey,
The two
nigga.
sprinted down the trail, Kylie making a conscious
You
effort
scared me
not
a
to
little
look
bit.
back, but Josh did. And Josh claimed to see a large black figure on the trail behind them, too big to be a human. The two
No.
made it to the car by some stroke of luck, losing whatever was chasing them. So they
No.
left the forest and went straight home. Upon doing research, Kylie found documents of common cult practices reported in those woods, as
Knew
well
it.
as numerous murders and disappearances that happened in the area throughout the years. Like Ethan and Danny in the first story, Kylie has not returned since.
I bet. She's smart. Abandoned bunker.
Deep in the woods in northern Germany, two friends were hiking in an
I ain't
area
going there.
formerly territory of the German Democratic Republic when they came across these strange periscope-like pipes protruding from the ground. Feeling either
Man, it's
brave
crazy for
or
the police
foolish,
and them not
they
about to go
decided
slide through the
investigate
woods.
further.
Cause
They
whoever
discovered a
up in
doorway hidden
they
behind
know
several
the
bushes,
woods.
covered by a large wooden lid. What they found hidden beneath the ground
That's
is a pretty
crazy.
disturbing piece of history.
No.
The doorway led to a huge abandoned army bunker.
What?
There were several tunnels leading off in different directions, which intersected a long central corridor. There were so many different directions to go. that
Hey,
exploring the place.
Hey, tell me what I thought. Hey, if you know what you thought this was, what you thought that was. I know what I thought that was. I was like, y'all recorded this? Who the heck recorded? Hey, I thought them boys had done came up. Then I was like, hey, just grab like 4 and dip real quick. You tripping. But I thought that was...
through a maze to the two friends. They tried not to stray far away from each other in fear of getting lost. That's how
I
big
thought
the
it was
place
bricks, all right.
As they ventured deeper into the structure, they came across German writing on the wall, which translated to help. Curiosity still got the better of them, and they continued deeper into the bunker.
I ain't
As
that
they
curious.
did, the structure became more and more decayed.
Heck
More
no.
writings were found on the walls, this time reading, "Hello, Satan, I love you."
Whoa.
Some of the rooms and corridors
I
were
would
flooded
rebuke that
and
in the
smelled
name
like
of Jesus.
sewage. They made their way into a very large room with a strange machine in the center.
And y'all still
It's
going.
very possible the previous occupants had fled the bunker in a hurry, as there was a single shoe still stuck in the sludge on the floor. Why wouldn't someone have time to grab one shoe unless they were in a hurry? The structure was believed to be an old military bunker, possibly used for shelter by the Nazis during World War II.
Or a torture
Why did the
chamber.
soldiers seemingly leave in such a hurry? And whether they were the ones who had written the warning messages on the walls is unknown. All things considered, this creepy abandoned structure would make a perfect hiding spot in Dead by Daylight Mobile.
Now he ain't coming in the game, bro. Duffel bag in the woods.
In this last story, for the person's safety, I'll refer...
Is it? Wow. Who's here for their safety, so
I'll
there ain't no
refer to
money
him
involved.
as Just Bill.
All
Bill
right.
is an avid hiker who in 2016 was visiting his brother upstate New York near Downsville. Bill's brother owns a small house and a barn up there, and from time to time Bill and other family members would go up to visit. This was in the late fall, and so the foliage was already mostly orange, and more than half of the leaves had fallen off the trees.
I
Bill
would
was
never stay
hiking a
in the
narrow
woods.
trail which was not far from his brother's
I
place.
can't do that.
This
I
trail
really
is in the
can't.
middle of a very rural area, and it connects from the occasional property to property.
I don't even
So
want a
when
cabin.
Bill stumbled across a
Nothing
duffel
like
bag
that.
on the ground in the middle of the woods,
I gotta be around
it was a
people.
surprise.
I like the city.
The duffel bag looked like it was relatively new. It didn't look dirty as if it had been sitting in the woods for an
The
extended
person
period
really
of
had to
time.
put it there.
There was a foul odor emanating from the bag, however, like something rotting inside. Bill assumed the worst, but he knew he had to open the bag to see what's inside,
No,
in
you
case
didn't.
it
You
actually
could've
could have
caught
been a
folks.
person. He was building up the courage to open the zipper to the bag,
Could've
but
caught
before he
folks.
could, he heard footsteps approaching from off the trail, and a voice saying, "That's mine, please don't touch it." A
No.
large man in a dirty jacket and jeans was quickly approaching from the woods and grabbed the duffel bag off the ground. The two exchanged looks for a moment. Bill told the man he assumed the bag was forgotten by someone, and the man told him he was storing his kill from his hunt in the bag. Even though Bill isn't a hunter, he knew it's standard to use a cooler for storing fresh kill,
Right.
not a duffel bag of all things. This also wouldn't explain the foul smell so soon, as usually dead bodies only start to smell after a few days, not right after death. So he apologized and continued walking down the trail, with a little more speed in his step. It's likely the man noticed Bill's nervousness.
Put a little
because he
pep in
heard
that
the
nigga's
duffel
step.
bag get dropped on the floor as he was walking away.
Wait, what
As he
happened?
looked back, he didn't see the man anymore.
Wait, what happened?
Floor as he was walking away. But as he looked back, he didn't. Likely the man noticed Bill's nervousness, because he heard the duffel bag get dropped on the floor as he was walking away. But as he looked back, he didn't see the man anymore. Bill nervously continued along the trail, taking out his phone to try to call his brother for an emergency pickup by the road. But he didn't have any reception in the woods. All he could do was press forward and avoid crossing paths with that man again. But as he continued on, he kept hearing leaves crunching from not far behind him. And any time he'd look back, the coast seemed clear. But eventually, his fear that he was being followed became real. He saw that man following him in the distance in a stalkerish manner, hiding behind a tree. Without thinking, Bill started to run as fast as he could down the trail. He knew he was
I'm
being
imagining
followed
it in
without
my
even
head.
looking back, because he could hear the leaves being crushed from not too far behind him. Bill came to an abandoned-looking property with overgrown grass, and having grown too winded to continue running, he attempted entry to the old house through the back door, and was able to get inside. Like the player would in Dead by Daylight Mobile,
Alright,
Bill
bro.
looked to seek shelter inside of a building as opposed to running from his
Get your
chaser
money,
out in
man.
the open.
Get your money, man.
Bill hid under a cot in the first bedroom he found, and he heard the back door open again, followed by heavy footsteps moving in a hurry. They went from room to room, and Bill could hear the man's heavy breathing from also being out of breath. The man's footsteps came into the bedroom just for a second and left right after.
Stop
He
playing.
didn't look under either of the two cots. Bill heard the back door to the house open and slam shut again, but he laid under the cot for another half an hour, not taking any risks.
Fact.
He only got up when he realized it would be dark soon, and he needed to get to a road to call for help. He proceeded to leave the house and run down the dirt trail by the house that was most likely once used as a driveway, which led him to a road. From here, he eventually hitched a ride with a passing car, who gave Bill a lift back to his brother's house, where Bill would call the local police department and report his encounter. Given the severity of the case, police would show up to the house to get a more detailed description of the man's face, the location it happened, and other information. Though it was never technically confirmed what was in that duffel bag, the rotting smell would already be clue enough. But the fact that the man so intently chased after Bill shows that he was hiding something that he didn't want any witnesses for, most likely dumping a dead body. Bill would most likely outsmart the killer in Dead by Daylight Mobile, as he effectively was able to hide from a stalker in the middle of the woods in a real-life situation similar to what the player is placed
He's
into.
smart, though.
Dead
That's
by
what I'm
Daylight
saying.
Mobile is the official mobile version of the game Dead by Daylight. The atmosphere and
He's out
surroundings.
the game now. Alright, forget all that. I ain't getting paid to promote the folk. You are. He's smart though, cause that's why I be saying like movies be dumb, like bro. In real life, bro, if you want somebody to think that you not there or you not where they thought you was at, you don't get up right after they leave. Like they not gonna hear you. Or they not thinking, oh, let me act like I left so you can come on, I'm outside waiting for you. Or I didn't really leave the house, I closed the door real quick to see if you gonna come running downstairs and I'm right here. He said that for an hour and a half. Brother was like, yeah, I'm about to make you think I'm not in here so you can dip. So I can dip. Real survival skills. Way to think, Bill. Yeah. But nah, that's wild. I really wish he would have said what was in the bag. I wish he would have got to the point, like, and was able to like open up the bag. But that's crazy. And the crazy thing is, what if the person that he caught a ride with was working with the dude? Imagine if that was the case. Woo. Thank God, buddy. All right, though. But hey, man, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can do anything. You can go anywhere as long as you take yourself with you. Monsta Mama, we out. Peace.